just like a caterpillar metamorphs into a butterfly. Like technology makes big breakthroughs and science rewrites itself over and over. We, our consciousness and Earth also transmute, transform and tumble all over the place on our pathway to evolution and ascension. This ascension from 2D to 5D isn't linear, nor is it worse or better than each other. Their state of awareness and consciousness. If you'd like to hear more, stay tuned as I dive deep and upend exactly what's going on in the world. Welcome to episode number 11. Can you believe that? Time absolutely flies. So let's take a look at what it is to be or have 3D, 4D and 5D awareness. It seems like obviously 3D is a dimension, third dimension, fourth dimension and fifth dimension, and it sounds like it's a linear thing, but it's actually not. It's a how would you say, a state of awareness. When we're in the 3D dimension, we're concerned and occupied about how we look to the outside world. We've all been there. We feel separated to others and we've no desire to go within and understand who we are, and we're consumed by material stuff. Then sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Everybody has their own journey and there's no judgment here. If people prefer to stay in the 3D world, well, that's absolutely fine because that's their plan and that's where they're supposed to learn. This actually reminds me of when I was going through my awakening, quote unquote, and I wanted everybody else to understand and I wanted everybody else to go on the journey, or I felt that it might help this person and that person, and people don't listen. We can try to lead people on the journey that we're on, but unless they're ready and unless they find the curiosity and the want and need to go on that journey, we're not going to be able to help somebody go on that journey. So if you're one of those people and you find it really frustrating because somebody won't listen to you, or they won't go inwards and they're not looking at their shadow selves or listening to their inner child, just leave them at it. They're on a different path. So let's go back. So 3D, we've already explained. 4D, when we begin to expand our awareness and wake up, quote unquote. When I say wake up, it means that we gain a deeper understanding of who we are and our thoughts. We start to realize that our thoughts can have a direct impact on our reality, or a direct or indirect impact on our reality. We start to appreciate the world more. We see things as learnings rather than being a victim or feeling sorry for ourselves. Then, the fifth dimension, we gain a strong intuition and we know what to do because we either know, hear, feel, see a vision and kind of get a deep sensation of what we should do in any situation. We find beautiful, harmonious balance between living in the real world, but we still dream big, and we're guided by our own spiritual and life path. We do what feels authentic. We set barriers. We work on our self-love. Well, that's kind of like 4D as well. But we love everyone and everything in the universe. So as you can see, it's like a wider sense of consciousness, an expansive awareness. If you'd like to read more about 3 dimensions, I'll leave a little link in my healing stories. I've got a website called healingwithsarah.com, healing-with-sarah.com, and in there are a few healing stories that I usually write to complement this podcast, so you can find out more about the different dimensions there. So, unless you've been floating around in a bubble for the last few years, like I generally have, I generally put myself in a bubble. I generally don't listen to the news or follow politics. I'm aware of what's happening, but I try not to get entangled in all the drama and the power and all of that for lots of different reasons. But anyway, unless you've been in a bubble like I have, you may have caught wind or maybe a tornado in the face of the shift we're going through. Some call it a new earth. Some say it's evolution. I say it's like a lovely little upending reevaluation of why and what we're actually here for. It's like a reassessment of values and who we follow that could lead to a dead end, as we can't keep running away from our repeated and useless habits and patterns anymore. I don't mean to offend anyone when I say useless. I don't mean to offend anyone by saying useless habits, but some patterns and habits are useless because they don't serve us anymore. And it's like we're in a vicious cycle unless we break those habits and change those patterns. We're in a vicious cycle. So we can't keep running away from these repeated toxic relationships, or these continuous abuse from different relationships, or a job that we still keep finding ourselves in a job that we don't like, and because we don't believe in ourselves that we can get a job that we really want. So, as I was saying, people are calling this time we're living in a new earth. It's like a shift, an ascension shift of the world, of Gaia. And it's not easy. As you can see, all around the world, there are lots of free punches in the face everywhere you go. Not literal, obviously. Take a look around your circles, or even at yourself, and see if you can notice any big deals, any havoc or chaos. Can you see any little butterflies trying to shake off their shadow self cocoons? Are any of your friends or family or workmates having nervous breakdowns, more so than usual? Any deep inner child emotions or teenage heartbreaks trying to resurface and spark insecurity in your relationships today? The process of ascension is bursting our awareness of our shadow selves right open and bringing all kinds of icky feelings to the surface. It's not nice, but it's necessary. Many parts of the world are in the absolute pits, from wars to shady governments and COVID to recessions. So it doesn't matter where, what, or who we are. We're all universal energy, and we're all in this world together. Not only energetically speaking, but on this physical earth, we're here together, like a nice little bowl of puke, waiting for the badness to be boiled away in order for us to regain our truth and our healing and our return to source. As above, so below. As within, so without. We are all made of the same universal energy, all woven together like a tapestry of energies. So it's only normal that we're going through an individual turbulence as well as the world. It's only normal that not only is the world upended on the news every minute of the day, but there are things bubbling up in ourselves too, because the world is ascending and we need to go into the darkness in order to heal, in order to let go of that heavy, non-relevant energy that we don't need anymore. When I say non-relevant, I meant irrelevant. So, going back, it's expected that every little thing, so it's normal that we're going through an individual turbulence as well as the world. It's expected that every little thing might be testing our patience much more than the ordinary. It's like before we start to ascend, we're kind of descending into doom and gloom, and it feels like we're taking 10 steps back. After all that work we've done, after all the work we've done on ourselves before, it seems like all the hard work we've done has been thrown down the drain. Rest assured, it definitely hasn't. It's all part of the process, I promise. So honestly, don't worry. All the work that we've been doing on ourselves is not wasted. Our inner child can pop up and say, "Oh, hi," every now and again, hand in hand with our shadow self, the part of ourselves that we repress and we learn to push away and hide as we go through life. Now is the chance to really embrace both of them. All the uneasy, irritated, restless parts of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we can't be alone with, the fragments of ourselves that piss us the hell off. We need to really embrace these parts now, because now is the time. Now is the time to heal. What I've been doing as I journey through this shadowy time is to actually embrace it, would you believe? I try to bring my awareness to those uncomfortable sensations, those insecure and vulnerable bubbles that just float up and just leave me in a state of really uncomfortableness. I'll just give you an example of a recent thing that happened to me last weekend. I started to feel a little bit jealous of, I'm not going to say who or what or where or why, because it's just not necessary, but I started to feel jealousy coming up. And I was like, what is this? What's happening here? I really was like, where is this coming from? And I was then at the same time I started to try to control what was happening that day. And I was just not myself at all. Now, I had been on a 24-hour fast. I was fasting, and I had my little healing stones under my pillow all night. And I also took them out with me. And we actually went to view a house. And I basically had the worst day ever. Because whatever emotions, whatever, I don't know what it was, but I definitely went through a shift, a healing. My shadow self took a little peep out into the world, along with my little inner child, and lots of different emotions showed up. Controlling, jealousy, and I ended up just crying because I ended up crying because I needed to let it all out firstly. And it was like this, I was going to cry whether I wanted to or not. There was no way I could hold it in. Do you know that way? And this was at the end of lots of bickering with my partner because of this and that and nothing in particular. And at the end, I just cried it all out and let it go and released it and let it go. And then I got out my voice journal and I also wrote it down just to reinforce it. And I asked, what the hell is happening here? What's happening? How is the feeling I have now connected to any possible shadow part of me? What are the needs of my inner child now? Am I trying to control too much? Is my ego taking over? Am I acting out of my own interest? How can I acknowledge, learn and heal from this and not run away, not repress those feelings, embrace the feeling? How can I embrace and transmute this dark part of me? How can I embrace both the light and the dark within me? Those were the questions I asked myself. And, girl, I'll tell you, I got a lot of answers. Answers that I had never even imagined came up. So, I invite you to do that as well. And anything that annoys you, anything that gets on your nerves, write it all down and ask these questions to yourself. Ask yourself these questions and see what you get. You'll be surprised. So that's just one example of my lovely little shadow self, hand in hand with my inner child, popping up to say hello. I journal, explore, brainstorm, even break a pencil, would like to throw my phone at the ground, and then I rewrite my story. I tell my inner child that it's okay, and I give her the biggest, squeeziest hug and say it wasn't her fault. It's all a part of the strengthening process. It's all a part of the plan. My shadow self is necessary to balance the light. So it's, like I said before, as within, so without. As above, so below. What's happening in the world can also be happening within us. And when it does pop up, I really invite you to ask yourself these journeys. Create a lovely me time, self-care space. Make it a ritual. Really go deep. This is all connected to ancestral healing and trauma and all of it. The work that you do on yourselves, the work that we do on ourselves today is going to benefit the world, the energy, because we're all connected. We are all energy. We're all this like cloud. We're all the little particles in the cloud, but we're all connected. So when we work on ourselves, we free ourselves from those low energies and those things that block us from having healthy relationships and, not allowing our self-worth to grow. And we also pave the way for our children, the examples that we show people, how we treat ourselves, other people can see and learn from. So if you would like any help with this, please reach out. You're more than welcome to join my community on my website. There's hardly anyone there at the moment, but I'm there. There are a few of us. And we can chat together. You can be anonymous. You can text me anonymously. Please feel free to reach out. You're not alone. Everybody is going through something, and we're in it together. Sending you the biggest, squeeziest hug in the whole world, and lots of love. See you next time.